I mean, we go right into it. Yesterday, I think, was probably the craziest women's distance day of all time. The fact that we see two American records in the same race in two different distances by two incredible women. You see, you know, Keira D'Amato. I got to be there right in the finish line corral. Her kids were there. Her entire family was there. And building up to this race, Keira was thinking American record, but then kind of took their foot off the gas pedal of kind of saying American record or bust. She kind of was like, well, we'll see what happens. And well, what happened was she demolished it. She went out incredibly hard. She was like on 2:18 pace through the first half marathon or so, and was able just to hold on and just do something that I don't think anyone can really fathom. Right, the fact that someone who was a collegiate runner, then gave up
Mhm.
running, went on to live a regular life, then decided to get back into hobby jogging, and it's like, oh, maybe I could break 3 hours in a marathon, and then 5 years after saying the phrase, ooh, maybe I can break 3 hours in a marathon, you're breaking the American record. Like that just doesn't happen. Um, and so I was so surprised. I mean, I'm not surprised that she ran well because she's proven that she's now like an elite runner
Yeah.
and she's going to be able to compete with the best of the best. But for it actually to happen in real life, that she actually ran a time that was under 2:20, a time that was under Gina Castor's 2:19:36. Sometimes you got to see it to believe it. And I just saw it and I was flabbergasted.
I'm with you. Based on what she's done 2020 on, wasn't that surprising and just how the marathon has accelerated. But you take one step back and you think, wait, we weren't even talking about her in 2019. And in 2020, we were talking about her as, hey, maybe she could work her way into the mix. She could be there in the last lap of the 10K or maybe the final few miles of the Olympic trials marathon. And then she went a step beyond that. And Castor's career and D'Amato's career, couldn't be more different just in terms of Castor took a much more traditional path. She was knocking out all those majors, and you could just see, all right, the American record's going to be hers versus D'Amato. Again, we could see it coming, but it only came into view in the past year, and she took advantage of this opportunity. Seemed to be pretty good conditions out there, Gordon. I mean, you were on the ground. But we're and I know she had good pacing throughout. Did everything align perfectly for this attempt, do you think?
Yeah, so the weather was a bit cold in the beginning, but obviously once you start running and heating up, it's great conditions. One
Yeah.
thing that Kira had is she had perfect pacing. So she had
Mhm.
like basically a mob of people around her to really block the wind for a majority of the race. And then when it got late in the race, she had one pacer, male pacer, who there was like a point where he decided to let her go because she wanted to pick it up in the final 2 or 3 miles. But then he recognized that there was like a gust of wind coming. And so he
Mhm.
sprinted back in front of her, blocked the wind for a few more blocks, and then went off again to let her go again. So
Wow.
uh, he was being really scientific of like trying to make it as easy as possible, be with her throughout the entire ride, and it resulted in a 2:19. And this is the same pacer who was pacing Sarah Hall's American record attempt at the Marathon Project.
Okay.
And that when he was doing that, that's where Kira recognized, oh, who is this guy?
Mhm.
And they put two and two, and then eventually they were able to meet up. And now 3 years later, he is now pacing her to an American record after, you know, being the sidekick to Sarah Hall at the Marathon Project 3 years ago.
Mhm. What do you think is the next step for D'Amato now and for the record itself? I'm of the opinion, and I mentioned this, I think, on Friday's pod. I think we're going to see a lot more sub 220s. I just think it's time. And on the women's half marathon side, I think we're going to see a lot of people run these performances. But what do you think's the next progression for D'Amato and for the record for the United States?
Well, she said in the press conference she still has 2024 on her mind, which is
Mhm.
kind of wild because I guess 2024 is in 2 years, but I think she'll be getting even closer to 40 by the time we get there. So, but hell, you just broke the American record. You have to think you are top three shape if you can run 2:19. And
Yeah.
you think 2 more years, she may be on the elder side age wise, but her legs don't have 20 years of running in them. You know, they probably only have 10 years of running
Yeah.
on them. So she kind of has this like, you know, red shirt years that she probably is a lot stronger than typical 38-year-olds.
Mhm.
Um, One thing that I was thinking about, she just broke the American record. Would you, if you were the USATF head person, orbiter of rules, you're the king of USATF.
Mhm.
Would you kick off someone from the World Championship marathon team for Keira D'Amato? And if you were to do it, who would you kick off? Because you have Molly Seidel, you have Emma Bates, and Sarah
No.
Hall.
No, no,
You have an
no. I mean,
Olympic medalist, a half marathon American record holder, and a top finisher in Chicago, and Emma Bates. Would you take someone off? I feel like you
no.
have to, but you shouldn't. But you have to, and also you shouldn't. I feel like it's a very, I don't know,
Well, here's
because
the
how can you
situation.
say the American record holder is not on the top three to represent USA? There's something weird about that.
Well, yeah, but we've had this before where people don't make Olympic teams who have faster times.
Yes,
And
Kenny Harrison factor. I get it. Yeah. Yeah.
Bates and Hall just beat her in Chicago. And then you're not going to bump off Molly Seidel. I don't think anybody would think you're going to do that, but they just ran head to head. They've changed they put in place the rules for that so late that maybe it would make sense. It's just, hey, it's a fluid situation. It's a living document. The qualification standards for world championships are just going to change every couple months. That might be a fun twist, but I don't listen. She's going to have a shot to make the next team and the team after that. I think this answers the question of what's her event, because for a while, oh, it's 5K because she ran that 15:0 time trial in the beginning of the pandemic, and then she ran a 10K and then a half and then a marathon, and I mean she ran the trials marathon, and that was the first. If you go back to it, the first little hint, like okay, she's elite now again. So at least it answers the question of what race is her best. Or do you think there's still some mystery around that?
No, you when you break the American record in the marathon is your best event.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, I guess, is because she can't qualify for the world championships in the marathon, do you think she's going to go this summer and try to make the 10K team for Eugene?
No, I think she might just be like, all right, let's try to win Chicago Marathon or win New
Yeah,
York City or win one of the fall marathons. And then I think her next goal is basically try to win a major, right? Because
yeah,
now she goes onto the starting line and she looks at her time on the list and it says 2:19. You're like, all right, I'm in the conversation to win. Like I ran 2:19, 2:19
yeah,
low. So like I'm not just here for the token American on the field, right? I'm a legit competitor. And I think she probably, if I had to guess, I mean, I don't know, I think her goals are going to be try to win a major in the next
mm,
1 to 3 years. And in that process, make the 2024 Olympic team. Like, I
yeah,
think it's pretty much, I don't think track really, I mean, she may think like, oh, maybe the 10K, but I don't know. I think just get really good at the marathon, build up,
yeah.
start getting higher and higher finishes at majors, and really set yourself up. So when you're running that marathon trials in 2024,
Mhm,
you're just like a no brainer lock. So
mhm.
that's what I think she should do.
And looking at that.